The Morning Dump from Hurrdat Sports with Andrew Rogers and Damon Benning.
You know what time it is. It's morning dump time. This is where we go for all of the extra thoughts that we have and we can't get to on
fault.
Coffee and Cream in the Morning on Hail Varsity Radio. Why is it my fault?
Well, because
Because I drive the conversation.
Yeah, you direct the flow. So if we don't get to it,
I blame it on Drew Dow.
Hey, sometimes, though, I go into break and I'm like, hey, we're going to talk about this. And then Shane's like, we're going to do these two highlights. And I'm like, well, now I can't talk about this if we're talking about that.
oh yeah, come on,
You can go
Shane.
with this or you can go with that.
I know that song.
You can go with this or you can go with that.
I should get that because I like that.
This,
I like that
You can
group.
go with that or you should go with this because this is where
it's at. Yeah. This is the morning dump.
One thing we did not get to were our poll results. I was about to say our or was.
Well, they're
the poll
yours.
results. Well, no, they're ours. You
Are
and
we
me.
sharing? Are we sharing them?
We share the poll. The poll question of today, and it was something that
Hip Hop X Factor. That seems kind of generic.
is that what it is?
Yeah, but this is funny, too, because it's under You May Also Like. This is right around that time.
I'm not going to show you what our poll results are. I want you to guess.
Crisscross.
Rob Bass and DJ Easy Rock.
Raw mania. You are now about to experience the strength of street knowledge.
And Kid and Play.
I don't know Kid and Play.
High Top Fade. House Party. House Party 2. House Party 3. Hola, hola, hey. No, none of that.
Oh, sing that part again.
No, that was that's all I got. Like, you can't have me.
It was helping, though.
You know, where they did the little, and then they kicked their foot in.
Right.
You know?
Okay, poll question of today. Put all bias aside.
All bias aside.
Who's the best team in the Big East? If you think Creighton, I ask people to spam that like button. 7 likes on the post.
So only 7 people in the poll think it's Creighton?
911 views.
Oh, wow.
70 votes, okay? Out of Xavier, Providence, Marquette, and UConn, who do you think took it for what the general public thinks regarding the best team in the Big East?
Connecticut.
They did. 52.9%. Who do you think came in second on the list? Xavier, Providence, Marquette.
Marquette.
Marquette did come in second, which surprised me because of how well Xavier's playing.
You know what I think it is? I think it was undue influence. I think it was because 2 nights ago on Twitter I said apparently Marquette is going to be a player in the Big East or something, however I said it. So maybe they had Marquette fresh in the brain.
Providence, though, being
you know what I also think it is?
Go ahead.
I think it's hard to believe in Xavier.
Is it?
I do. Because I think Xavier is always the but Big East team. Seriously.
A lot of years, at least recently, but.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So I think that's what it is. They're very reluctant to go in
What do you think?
on the Musketeers.
What do you think of Providence, though? Because Providence is one of those teams that find their way to March Madness and could steal a game or two.
Do you know what it is, though? It's the Ed Cooley factor. Mm-hmm. Everybody loves Ed Cooley. And it took me a long time to come around on him because I was a little bitter because Bryce Cotton and company gave Carolina such a hard time in the NCAA tournaments a handful of years.
Can you believe Providence behind Marquette after beating Marquette earlier this year?
No, it's kind of weird, but I think Marquette is fresh in the brain, so maybe a little bit of memory bias.
What do you think about that?
Mm-hmm. I could see it. The Big East is just such a toss-up with those 5 teams.
Yeah.
But think about St. John's just kind of falling out of the top 5.
And meanwhile, Drew Down, I don't think we ever liked you and I went round and round about St. John's.
We never settled on St. John's.
Because we like their personality. I'm just not sure how we like the nicest guy in college basketball as the head coach. Because everybody – it's like when people talk about Mike, it's like, oh, he's such a good guy. It's like that guy or girl in high school that, you know, the opposite sex is kind of talking about, and it's like, oh, but she's got such a great personality, or he's so nice. It's like
auto friend zone.
Yep, auto.
It's like
you didn't have to say anything further.
auto friend zone.
So
when
if
people
friend
talk
zone
about
was to the left and relationship was to the right, you went left and you didn't even get close.
So it's like when everybody talks about Mike Anderson, it's like he's such a good guy, and it's like nobody really talks about his coaching prowess.
Right.
And that's kind of how people feel about St. John's.
What about Villanova? That's kind of a wild card team.
I'd like to see him healthy. I'd like to see them fully locked and loaded.
That's a team that started, 16th to open the year?
Yeah.
And have since struggled because of injury issues. 8-7 overall now, 2-2 in conference play. They did snag a win their last time out against Georgetown, who's the worst team in the Big East. But they only fell by 2 points to Marquette. So
how much longer for Ewing?
You know what? Sometimes
I feel like he's on the clock constantly. And by the way, you realize that game was tied at the half the other night. Mm-hmm. Georgetown Nova.
Right. It took a big second-half run for Nova to get out there.
Yeah. No big deal.
I think in regards to Ewing, it's kind of like the thing I settle back on when we talk about former players as head coaches. Mm-hmm. Some just aren't meant to be coaches at the end of the day. Mm. And because he hasn't figured it out, because he's had so much time now to figure it out, he's on the hot seat for sure. You can't be 0-5
a couple
in
years ago.
play. Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's started with some goose eggs now.
Right. You can't be 0-5 and 5-11 overall and expect to feel comfortable holding a job.
I thought that last year and the year before. It's what are we doing?
Any type of insurance there? Like, because of his status?
Because he's a Ewing? Well, we thought that with John Thompson III.
Right.
Greater than or less than impact being a Ewing over a Thompson? Because whatever the answer to the question of that is because John Thompson III had and now remember, they went on the run. Remember the FGCU and then –
yeah.
There was a year where they kind of made the run in the Big East tournament,
right,
and got hot, and I think that bought them some time. But I think there was always this kind of but thing with him. So I don't know.
It's a complete toss-up. Now,
sometimes organizations, and I'm not saying
never know when he's going to chime in.
I know,
I know because I see you. I'm looking at you.
I think the big voice guy just said something.
Well, there's sometimes organizations, and I'm not saying Georgetown is this way. I'm not going to throw out any names, but it seems like sometimes organizations or teams or owners are kind of just like they almost just settle for what they have.
Oh, the Raiders. You're talking about your team.
Raiders, Lions. I mean, Lions were that way forever.
It's funny to say you're talking about both your teams. I mean, could you think of such a thing?
Detroit Tigers. Detroit Tigers. I mean, it seems like organizations or owners or whoever's in charge sometimes they just settle for that.
Baseball's a little different, though, because you don't have a salary cap. So you could go out.
You do have luxury tax.
Yeah, you just have to go out, though, and just if you want to spend the money, if the owner has the money, go out and spend it.
And people do – I don't think they understand, year 3 being over the luxury tax, costing draft pick. I don't think people get that deep in the weeds with baseball.
Because they're right with win now. It's pay the guy, win now.
Yeah, San Diego Padres, right? Mm-hmm.
Which, good on them to get Bogarts. Good on the Red Sox. Thank God that they settled down with Devers. Because I thought for sure he was leaving.
Is he 331, though? Mm-hmm. Was it 331?
You look at his numbers. His home run totals since coming into the league have surpassed when Ted Williams started.
Yeah.
Like, he is such a good hitter.
And
defensively, he's pretty good, too. He's pretty locked down.
331.
Mm-hmm. I think he's more than worth that money.
That's a big
But
deal.
why don't you pay Mookie Betts similar money whenever you had him? Like, why wait until Devers?
I don't know, because now who are they paying, right? You got Martinez off the books. You've lost Bogarts. Like, what? You lost Evaldi. Mm-hmm. What else you going to do?
I don't know. I don't know who their biggest contracts are on that team.
It's got to be Sale.
I keep forgetting they have Sale because he's been hurt.
Yeah, but I
You're right.
Off the
You're
top,
right.
I think it would be Chris Sale. Now it's going to be Devers, but I think before that it would have been Sale. Don't you think?
You're right. Trevor Story's up there, too. I forgot they have Trevor Story.
And who's still trying to stay healthy.
But I'd rather have Mookie Betts than Trevor Story.
He got the monster contract.
Like, Mookie Betts can play second base. Like, why did I need
People
Trevor
are always
Story?
like, how long can these big middle infielders last?
Did they have David Price, too, on a hefty contract when they were
and
dealing
then they
with Mookie?
They split some of the acquisition because the Dodgers got David Price on the cheap, relatively speaking. Now, he hasn't had a huge impact for Los Angeles because he's been hurt so much, and they don't really use him in the –
and they just signed Kenley Jansen, too.
Yeah, the Red Sox. But they got him for the cheap, though. I think that was 3-year, $8 million.
2 years, $32 million.
For Jansen?
Yeah.
Really? Mm-hmm. Seems like maybe it was, $16 million a year for Jansen?
Mm-hmm. That's what you saw, for sure. Because we talked about it when he left the Braves. Do you really go all in on a closer like him
he gave
at
me,
his
listen,
stage in his career?
I appreciate everything that Kenley Jansen brought to the table, but nobody gave me more anxiety every time they took the bump than Kenley Jansen.
You know who that is for me?
Who's that?
Jason Isringhausen.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. You went back a ways.
Nobody gave me more anxiety than him.
Yeah.
And
there was a time where he was like going to be the man. Mm-hmm. You can ask Mets fans about that too, but
yeah, you can also ask.
Remember, he was can't
Oakland
miss.
A's.
He was can't miss.
That was right before the Billy Bean turnaround.
Yeah.
And then there was another guy.
By the way, how about them losing Bradley to the Braves? Did you see where the A's lost? Sean Murphy, I'm sorry, I said Bradley.
Sean Murphy, okay, yeah.
To the Braves, and I'm thinking, who's coming out to the ballpark?
Murphy.
Now, it was already slim pickings in Oakland, but the new ballpark deal's got to be all but. And then, Murphy signs with the Braves. They're loaded. If the Braves ever stay healthy.
Right.
It's probably a wrap.
Right.
Because I think they have the most depth of anybody in the NL. We talk about offense, defense.
Gosh, the Braves are so young, too.
Dude, they got arms galore, though, when healthy.
They're so young.
Hey, how quick did they move on from Fulton Evans? He went from phenom to hurt to designated for assignment. You're like, wait, what?
Well, do you remember when they got rid of Freeman, obviously, because he went to the Dodgers, and they ended up settling with Matt Olson? And Matt Olson is like...
Settling.
Uh-huh.
That wasn't a settle. He got comparable money, and he's a star.
Well, so you don't think – I mean, this is a guy that strikes out a ton.
Yeah, but –
Like, he may be able to swing and hit the ball a mile, but even in Oakland, this guy –
I think
his batting average was so poor.
Yeah, but he put himself for a time when on the acquisition, like you were thinking in the MVP discussion. Now, he petered.
As a Brave?
Yes.
Yes. As an A,
that's what I'm saying. So I don't think they settled. Like they got a guy.
Buying in on him after he came out of Oakland. That's why I say they settled. He may have exceeded.
He got a very similar deal to what they were offering.
I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. Why pay him though if you're not going to pay Freeman?
Amantopoulos, am I saying that right? Their general manager.
Maybe. Yeah. You're
He's
probably right.
Unbelievable. Mm-hmm. I mean, look at the Braves' inventory.
I'll tell you who did not exceed expectation was Eddie Rosario.
Yeah.
He was not good last year.
Yeah, no, I get it.
But you hit the nail on the head when you talk about youngins on this team and young, talented players. You have Ronald Acuna, Ozzie Albies, and Austin Riley to form your team around.
Yeah.
And then you mix in Matt Olson, who fits. Yeah, he's a good fit, but I still felt like they settled on him when they lost Freeman. They got a big name because Matt Olson drew some attention because of his power, but he just did not hit the ball consistently for contact. He would strike out so much.
How about Von
But he
Grissom?
played well last year. You're right.
You got Grissom playing short.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
all-star, right?
Yeah, all 291 of it. Like, believe me, that's when you can roll out Fried and Morton and Strider and Kyle Wright, and I don't even know who the number 5 is, but
Fried, Morton, Strider, Wright, Elder.
Yeah,
is who we got.
How about
Look at you.
I like baseball.
Look at you. Charlie Morton, too.
Plus, they're a thorn in my side, so I pay very close attention to them.
They spent a lot of money to get Charlie, and after he left the Rays, just didn't look like the same guy.
He's
up there in age.
He still has filthy stuff.
He does have good stuff, but you look at like even Adam Wainwright too. Like you just don't have the arm speed anymore. Like you have the stuff.
Yeah, but Morton
not the
still has good velocity.
Because he's still relatively young. He's in his lower 30s.
So Morton reminds me of this may be like on the peak of when you were starting to really get into baseball, but he reminds me of the A.J. Burnett's and the Kevin Browns, where they have all that life and that movement. But when they flatten out and they get hit, they don't just get hit. Balls leave the ballpark on them.
He is upper 30s, excuse me.
He's 38, right?
39.
Yeah. But he's good life, really good movement. And he's a warrior. He is an absolute warrior. How did we get on to baseball?
Well, there it is. We talked about like teams that, like he went to the Lions and
cheering
Raiders
for, that are
in regards to
organizations that are just destined.
And then he mentioned the Tigers, and I said, well, baseball you can spend money to get players, and then we just kind of went down our baseball.
Don't you mean organizations that are just destination points to get money?
So I was talking with Scott Shanley, this was a while ago, and we were talking about organizations in football that other players around the league just don't think. They're just that team that they don't ever think will get over the hump. Mm-hmm. You know which one I thought was interesting that he said? The Chargers. That for whatever the reason, and choke isn't the word, but they just won't get over the hump. That's kind of, and they almost proved me wrong this year, that's kind of how I feel about the San Diego Padres.
Yeah, you were high on the Chargers this year.
I was.
Thought, they're my team, and here they are.
Ooh, 10 wins.
Yeah, that's what I
said. Yeah, and remember, they had the losing record when I said we were going through, hey, team with losing record that you're like, hey, keep an eye on. And I was like, give me the Chargers. But I still don't all the way believe. Because Herbert is so strange. Mm-hmm. For a guy that can kind of turn the ball over a little and – he'll then turn around and make some huge plays. He doesn't have a ton of signature wins. But based on the regard that he's held in really high regard for a guy that hasn't what I call turned the proverbial wins corner.
Right.
You know what I mean? But he's so capable. And I'm not going to say overrated because, listen, I take him in a heartbeat, and I like him. I like him a ton. I just think he's one of those guys. And he's too young to be in this category yet. He reminds me of a young Matt Stafford, where everybody talks about what he's capable of and the arm talent and, oh, man, when he's on.
Interesting point.
But just getting over he needs some signature things to happen. Maybe not too pretty soon, but matching what people think of him. I think Herbert's an interesting case study because he's thought of awful highly.
He was somebody when coming out of that draft class, people were really high on, and I didn't know what to think about him because, at Oregon, he was good.
He was aloof. You kind of wondered how much he loved playing. Was he really a football first guy?
And then all of a sudden, first-year guy comes out there and just shines.
He makes some throws.
He lit the world on fire.
He makes some throws sometimes. You're like, what in the world? He played just average. He throws the ball scrambling on a line to get them in field goal position to win a game a couple weeks ago. And that's the only real highlight that you saw of the clip of that game when he was kind of off and just okay up until that point.
Right.
But he's that guy. Like when he gets going, he can single-handedly keep you in games. And now he's getting his receiving core healthy too. So
which that was the big thing. That was the big question mark when you were talking about the Chargers. I kept saying, well, they need Keenan Allen and they need Mike Williams back. And until they get back, Josh Palmer just wasn't cutting it.
And I still kind of worry a little bit about their offensive line, but now they're starting to get healthy on defense too. I mean, you get Bosa and Derwin James.
And defense is huge.
Samuel Jr. starting to play a lot better. Like, I'm telling you, I wouldn't want to play him.
The old adage reads, defense wins championships.
Do you still believe that?
I don't. Not
I
in
think
this game.
I think it's good enough defense.
But great defense gives you every opportunity to win.
I just wonder what's so elusive about being able to play great defense and have a good offense. It usually seems like you sacrifice
ask
one
the
for
Bucks, right?
Yeah. Although, and I said
They
this to
looked
be
better last week.
I said this to be Edwards. You go look at their passing efficiency and their passing
That
statistics.
shocked me when you said that on air.
They're still second.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
This is a team. Well, and they're forced to pass more than they'd probably like to because they're in such tight games more times than not. But the way that we've seen Brady play this year, it has been like, give me 2 forks, let me stab my eyes out.
He's probably 2 wins away, and don't put it past this week. Although I don't think he'll play 4 quarters. He's 390 yards away from 5K.
This year?
Tom Brady has thrown for 46-10.
No wonder they have such.
That's
a good
why I
pass
said
efficiency.
to B. Edwards, I'm like, listen, this is still the second most passing yards in the league.
Can't believe that.
And all we talk about is what they aren't. And who has he been throwing to? Evans has missed 58 games. You think you like God? It's like, I'm telling you, he's thrown for almost 5K, and there's only one of those in the league, and he's the MVP.
I'll tell you what, though, his arm strength, of course, is not there anymore.
Yeah.
And really, was he ever a big throw the ball deep down the field type of quarterback?
But he would chunk you, though.
He could. But now that we watch him, like his accuracy issues are shining through, and gosh, I cannot fathom the fact that he has 4,600 yards this year.
You know what he has that a lot of the other quarterbacks. I mean, Patrick Mahomes has it, of course, but
and MVP Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, he has
Single lifestyle.
He does have that. He has. This is what Brady has. He has the ability, and it's not even doing anything. It's just you're giving other players on your team a chance. Like, hey, I'm on Tom Brady's team. I have a chance just because of that. So
because he's the GOAT.
Because he's the GOAT, and the other team. The guys are just going to play better around him, or should, or would, or could.
You think the term GOAT has gotten overused to the point to where we should stop using it because everybody's the GOAT now?
Well, I think there's a few guys you use it with, and you're no longer getting discussions. Brady has moved past every other quarterback that's played the game. I think he's the GOAT.
Yeah, I think so too.
There's very few people.
But I just mean like the term GOAT. Is it because it's being so overused?
But do you know why? Because you know what it is? That's a great point. I think it's because the younger generation.
I was about to say that.
Uses it a ton.
Like Tristan Alvano kicks 5 field goals in the championship game, hits the game winner. He's the GOAT.
He's the GOAT.
But
Yeah.
it's like, well, is there another kicker that's a high school kicker that could compete?
Maybe
Not.
It's like we use it. Man, my 12-year-old.
You force a fumble. Oh, you're the GOAT, man.
Dad, he's the GOAT.
You're the GOAT.
Dad, he's the GOAT.
That's what I'm saying.
I agree. Like, it's used a ton. But
I feel like as a New Year's resolution, we should stop calling people the GOAT unless they are
the GOAT.
The GOAT.
And it's so debatable now. Even the Jordan LeBron thing is. I don't know. Let me ask you one more thing, if you know this off the cuff before we get out of here. You know Mahomes is 1. Brady's 2.
In passing. Right.
Who's 3 with 4,400 yards? A smidge over 4,400.
Just passing yards. Who's
Carr?
3? No.
He said no.
That was joking.
All right. I'm thinking 1 here. I'm going to go up north there. All right. I have 3 that I'm thinking of.
Give me the 3.
Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
Josh Allen.
Okay.
And because he was hurt, I'm not going to say Dak Prescott. I'm going to say Jalen Hurts.
Shane, is it one of those 3?
Yes.
It is not.
No.
Jared Goff.
It is not.
Oh, I thought I had it there. It wasn't. It wasn't.
It's not one of
Aaron
those three.
Rodgers. I thought because we were thinking old men.
Nope.
Can you give me the
If I give
AFC,
you the
NFC? Because I don't want you to give me the division because I could easily narrow it down.
I feel like if I do this, you're going to get it on first guess.
Really?
So let's make a game of it. Shane, if I give him the conference, will his first guess be the right answer?
I don't know. We're probably looking at percentage-wise.
Is it Geno?
He is in the AFC.
Oh.
Do you need some help? You need a lifeline?
Is it Burrow? Is it Burrow?
It is not.
What? Is it Herbert?
It is.
Oh, no way. I should have just settled in on that.
It is Justin Herbert.
How about that? Remember when Tua was like leading everything in yards? And then he just kinda fell off a cliff?
I'm just tempted to give number 4. Because you'll never guess number 4.
Russell Wilson.
No. Yeah, listen, I'll give you 5 guesses.
5 guesses. From this point?
From this point on.
Matt Ryan.
Incorrect.
Davis Mills.
Incorrect.
Gosh, I shouldn't have just like when you said
You're down
never
to-
get it.
You're down to 3. Yeah, down to 3. Come on, don't.
You don't want me to look?
I don't want you to look at the teams.
Okay. Kirk Cousins.
It's Kirk Cousins.
And he's only good because of Justin Jefferson.
And I knew, you may get an inkling. How maligned and disrespected is Kirk Cousins? And they're not a good team, and they're the fakest double-digit win team. And my man is 4th in the NFL in passing yards.
They are so overrated. I still think so. Going into the playoffs, I think
it's defense, though.
Good Lord, their defense
Are
is
they-
messed up.
Hey, are they
Messed up.
So it's funny. They have 2 30-point losses on their resume.
Once to the Dallas Cowboys, and the other just happened, right?
Who was that?
Who did they
I
just lose to?
they got pillar to posted.
And it wasn't a good team.
It's
The
debatable.
Giants?
It wasn't 30. It's actually 24.
It was not Old Dominion.
People don't even think they're good.
Old Dominion?
No, the team that drubbed them.
I don't remember. Lions.
Green Bay.
Oh, Green Bay. That's right.
Green Bay hammered them 41-17.
And they're hot.
Yeah, they are.
So their losses, get this. They lost to the Eagles 24-7, blown out.
Mm-hmm.
They lost to the Cowboys 40-3, blown out. They lost to the Colts. Oh, no, actually, they beat the Colts. They lost to the Lions. Wasn't really close, 34-23, and they were blown out by the Packers.
There you have it.
That's a 12 wins Vikings team.
I hate to cut you short, but guess what? I actually have to go take a morning dump now. How about that? Little TMI?
Stop.
TMI?
I thought you had a meeting.
I do. They're going to have to wait. Wow. We'll see you tomorrow. Stop by for Coffee and Cream in the morning at Hale Varsity Club. We're doing a live breakfast show. You can get your tickets at halevarsityclub.com. But for now, that's it here. We will see you then.